Well, for more on the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, let's go now to my colleague, senior reporter Chriselda Lewis. A very good afternoon, Chriselda. This case never really seems to run smoothly. Tell us about today's proceedings.
Well, that's right, Nompo. On Friday already, we had an indication that the defense representing accused 1 to 4 had planned to bring an application for a trial within a trial. So what we understand from what the state prosecutor told us was that they received the application only this morning, and there had been some questions on whether that application would be entertained here this morning before cross-examination by Advocate Zandile Mshololo continues of Thabo Mosia, and that was debated inside the judge's chambers this morning and also inside court. The judge seemingly not convinced that the hearing for that application should take place now, ruling that there's no basis for it at this point and that Advocate Zandile Mshololo should continue with her cross-examination of the forensic detective Thabo Mosia. Essentially what Advocate Malisela Tifo was basically basing his argument on. He was saying that this special plea should be entertained now because they believe that the men who are sitting in the dock at this point should not be the ones answering to killing Senzo Meyiwa. They're also saying that the rights of their clients were violated in that accused number 1 and 2, the manner in which police had obtained the confessions was through unlawful means. It was unconstitutional. Advocate Malisela Tifo telling the court that his clients had basically been assaulted and forced into those confessions. Also saying that part of the basis of the application that he wanted to be heard here was that he believes that cross-examination should stop and that those who should be taking the stand instead should be the likes of Kelly Kumalo as well as other occupants in the house at the time that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Then after the ruling of the judge that the cross-examination should continue, Advocate Zandile Mshololo now asking about the experience of Thabo Mosia, basically asking him what was his experience at the time that he had been looking at that scene back in 2014. He basically saying in 2008 he'd done a basic forensic course, and in 2013 he had finished training, and that basically accredited him as a criminalistic expert. He got a certificate for that. So Advocate Zandile Mshololo pressing to ask then that at the time of the incident he had not done any studies in forensic investigations. He reiterated again what he had achieved in 2008 as well as 2013. So basically Advocate Zandile Mshololo pressing on the aspect that even though he says he may have had that certificate and basic training in terms of forensics, why did he not independently investigate the crime scene? Because you would recall he has previously said that at some point he handed over the scene to Brigadier Philani Ndlovu, who has since passed on, and what we're hearing now is that he also had relied on a detective or had been assisted by a detective on the second day. So that's what we're expecting much of as we return to court at about 2 o'clock straight after lunch. It's for Advocate Zandile Mshololo to press on in terms of what experience he had in terms of educationally for forensics, given that he had reported to that scene. He was the first forensic officer to report to the scene on that day.
Thanks very much, my colleague there, Chriselda Lewis.